Hello. Do you have any phobias? You mean like fear of heights? Being afraid of the dark? Fear of water? That kind of thing? No, I do not. That is not to suggest that I'm not afraid of anything. I don't believe I have any textbook clinical phobias per se. No. What does there is something. It's not something I'm so much afraid of, but if you mean, is there anything which provokes actual fear? It won't be relatable to the majority of you. It's so outdated. It's ridiculous, in all honesty. But to me, there is nothing quite so indescribably terrifying as the sound of an air raid siren off in the distance. You hear that sound and your world freezes and your heart stops. What does it take to get an answer to a simple question from you? All I'm asking is what's your opinion of Hunter S. Thompson? Again, isn't this the third or possibly even the fourth time that somebody's asked about this guy? What can I tell you? I've never met him. I've never read any of his books. I don't really ever intend to read any of his books. The only thing I can say about this guy with a degree of certainty, I hope, is that if he were still alive today, he would be outraged and up in arms over everything going on in this country. Outside of that, I don't know what to tell you. Yeah. I get it. I know. Kitties. This is one of your celebrated countercultural icons, and I'm supposed to be sitting here singing his praises. And yet I'm not really in a position to do that. Opinions. I don't even deal in opinions. I give impressions. See? Impressions. You know, and I'll tell you what. You want an impression about this guy? Here's your impression. I'll give you an impression. As much as you adore him and idolize him, how do you know? How do you know for certain if back in the late 60s and early 70s, when he was running around practicing that gonzo journalism, how do you know that he was not, in effect, the forerunner, if not one of the founding pioneers, of today's fake news? Alternate facts and fake news. How do you know that he's not the founder, the originator of all of that? Huh? Yeah. Yeah, how do you know that that isn't the hallucinogenic, psychedelic, fearful, and loathsome truth about this guy? Huh? How do you know that? It's in all likelihood entirely plausible, downright feasible, in fact it's probable, you know? Yeah. Don't ask me about this nut again. What is your take on the movie IDIOCRACY? That's something else that we've already covered before. Oh, but I don't mind addressing this again. Oh, no, not at all. Although I'll be certain to speak very slowly and use small, concise words, because God knows I don't want to run the risk of sounding like a fag. Oh, no, no. Idiocracy. For I don't know how many eons now I have been shouting myself hoarse, warning everybody out there. that through your complacency and your complicity and your laziness and your ignorance, you're gradually dumbing yourselves down, getting stupider by the minute. And all any of you ever would do is just laugh and say, oh, yeah, you sound like Idiocracy. It sounds like the movie Idiocracy. It sounds like exactly what goes on in Idiocracy. And then there's the rest of you who now, today, have the nerve to be saying, you know, I saw it coming a couple of years ago. I knew this was going to come true. That movie, it's totally correct about the future. Yeah, I absolutely called it. Yeah, you've been saying that for a few years now. I'll see your years and raise you a number of decades. And as for the rest of you who believe that this is some uproarious, side-splitting comedy, oh, well, I've got some good news for you. You're not alone in that assessment. Do you know who also would think that this was a laugh riot? An absolute sensation? Do you know who would be sitting with you in that theater, watching this movie with you, and laughing her head off? Who would be rolling in the aisles, just laughing to beat the band? None other than your very own Ayn Rand. Ayn Rand would love Idiocracy. She would absolutely adore this movie because it so perfectly depicts what she predicts in that Atlas Shrugged book. It is the beautiful cartoon caricature imagining of the dystopic apocalypse just around the corner for all of you. If anybody called it, she did. So, the next time you're down there, at the Saturday afternoon matinee at the Bijou, or Saturday night down there at the drive-in theater, you can pop up some popcorn, crack a beer, and sit there shoulder to shoulder with Ayn Rand, pointing up at that screen and laughing your heads off. I tell you what, this is the company that you keep. This is the company that you keep as you sit there howling at that pathetic, prophetic movie. Dear Godfather, in the entire time of KFUX, why haven't there ever been any videos or pictures or even any mention of Fredo? It just seems weird because everyone knows how close you two are. Whoever submitted this is a question better posed to Fredo himself. That is my suggestion. This should be asked of Fredo directly. And if you get an answer to that question, feel free to pass it along to me and we'll take it from there. If not, well, I'll tell you what. Ask me again sometime.